All right, welcome back. My name is Chris Zachinelli. I get to build, buy, and sell simple profit businesses every single day. And today we're going to be talking about profit flows and how you can leverage them to build equity and then eventually go on to unlock capital inside of your business. Now, today's video is going to be perfectly built for any small or medium-sized business out there, SMB, who's looking to hopefully simplify a little bit. Take the process and hopefully maybe remove yourself by automating away or potentially even completely replacing with AI, right? This is a foundational approach to be able to simplify a business. We want to always, organize around profit, standardize around product, simplify around process so that we can then optimize around people. And developing profit flows is a great way to refine your profit engine as well as your value engine, right? Profit engine is simply how you're acquiring customers, delivering value, and then ascending that value over time. And your value engine is, all of the blocking and tackling that has to take place on a day-to-day basis to be able to support that throughput, that revenue running through your business. In designing profit flows, if you do it a really, in a well way, then you can simplify your business. You can simplify the process so that you can really be optimizing around people and hopefully putting the right people in the right roles at the right time to get to the right outcomes. And now in the age of AI, potentially even completely replace or augment away a lot of the time, effort, and energy, saving you both time and money. So when we jump into it, what are we even talking about when we say a profit flow, right? It's really the job to be done. So when we're talking about a profit flow specifically in your business, think of it almost like a job to be done. If you were to define something that needs to be accomplished inside of your business, right? So truly, truly, truly a specific job that needs to get done inside your business. And then as you look at that job to be done, we're going to break it down into the smallest movable parts. So we're going to take the job to be done, and then we're going to break it down into the tasks, the tools, the talent, the techniques, right? Everything that goes into actually building and developing and executing that job. And then we want to standardize it, right? So we're going to take the very specific job to be done. We're going to break it down into the tasks, the talent, the tools, and the techniques. We're going to document it so that it's standardized, and then we're going to benchmark it. We're going to identify the metrics that matter associated with this job, associated with this profit flow, that tell us whether or not it's happening successfully, or maybe if there's some attention that needs to be diverted towards it. And the goal, the purpose of this is if we do this in a really well-documented, simplified manner, then it's going to ultimately streamline a lot of the day-to-day activities that's going to happen across our business. And it's going to help us keep things simple, right? And that simplicity is going to eventually drive efficiency and hopefully flow to the bottom line, profitability, right? So when we're talking about why, really, we're building profit flows for a very important reason. If we do a really great job, we truly are building equity in our business because we are decreasing the risk, right? By creating consistency in terms of a clear path of how things are happening inside the business, we can also, drive folks to predictable outcomes. And more predictable outcomes means a higher quality experience at a lower overall cost because we're more efficient in our actions. And because it's standardized in a replicatable way, it's scalable. And when we think about an asset, when we think about building equity, which is realistically, us converting liabilities into an asset, right? An asset being a business that other people want to buy. When we are thinking about that, what we really want to be able to do is design process that we could teach, right? Design process that delivers valuable outcomes to customers that they pay for, and design process that is scalable, right? So that we could repeat that process over and over and over again, putting more profit in our pocket. And really, when we think about a business is just accumulation of a whole bunch of these profit flows, a whole bunch of these profitable processes that are teachable, We can actually hire people, or now we can teach AI to do these tasks. They're teachable, they're valuable, they're actually delivering an outcome that's measurable and it matters, and it's scalable, it's repeatable. And all of that combined is the definition of an asset. That's something that somebody else would want to buy, right? So you're building equity and you're doing so in a sustainable manner, right? Inclusive in that, we're creating accountability because we're putting metrics that matter so that we can measure what matters, so that we can keep a pulse to make sure that these profit flows are continually working and delivering the right level of outcome. And that allows us to make data-driven decisions so that we can always be optimizing. Now, we want to optimize around people, and we also want to optimize around the profit in our pocket, right? So doing this is an extremely valuable action for our business. It's one of the best ways in terms of blocking and tackling to actually truly build equity inside of our companies. Now, in terms of how do we accomplish it? Sounds pretty good. I get what it is and I get why I would do it, but how do I actually accomplish it? It's actually fairly simple, right? We want to keep it simple. The whole goal of a profit flow is something that's simple, something that's teachable, something that's valuable, and something that's, repeatable, scalable, right? So the goal is to keep it simple. Now, simple works, but simple is not always easy. So it's a little bit easier said than done, but in practice, it's pretty clear. We want to first start by choosing the profit flow. What is the objective? What is the goal? What is the job that we're focusing on that needs to be done? And the goal here is specificity. We want to be very specific and focused. We want to put parameters in terms of what we're achieving and why, right? Measurable outcomes, a true job to be done. Think about it like delegating a task, right, inside of your business. Now, the goal here is you're delegating outcomes. So you're trying to communicate what is looking to be achieved, the objective. And that's going to be the scope of the profit flow. That's going to be the job to be done. It's the objective in which we're looking to achieve inside of our business, such as generate 100 B2B leads that are Shopify apps generating $20,000 a month in revenue per week, right? So you want to be very specific in scope, right? Riches are in the niches. Specificity drives results and outcomes, right? Then we want to document the actual SOP, the standard operating procedure or standard operating process that is a step-by-step, start to finish that we expect somebody to do in order to get to a consistency of outcome. And in terms of delegation or creation of this profit flow, we genuinely want to do it. Do it for yourself before you do for others, right? So whenever you're delegating something, have yourself or the subject matter expert, whoever's the best, right? Whoever's the best suited to actually truly do the delegation should be the one that starts it and document it. And today there's awesome tools that are out there. You could, do screen recorders. There's different tools and apps and functions that you could quite literally watch yourself or just do the task and it watches you. And with AI now, you can train these models pretty quickly, right? To be able to actually capture the SOP by doing the work, right? Once you're doing that, then we want to distill it down into its most refined parts. And in distilling it down into its most refined parts, we want to start to track the metrics that matter. So we want to define what success looks like at each and every stage of the profit flow. And we want to define a KPI that measures and indicates whether or not we are on track or diverting away from the desired outcomes, the objectives. And doing this really well and doing this in a simple way where it doesn't become another job to be done, to be able to report the metrics, something that's integrated into the profit flow itself. That's kind of like a big part of, simple works, but simple's not always easy. Defining the right metrics and then being able to track those right metrics and the ability to actually pull and aggregate the data, that could be something that becomes a blocker in the process. So we want to really be intentional and we want to truly only measure what matters, right? We don't want to measure everything. We don't have to create other jobs, right? We're not creating jobs to do a job. We want to integrate it in terms of the job to be done. And we want to measure what matters so that we can truly indicate, whether or not we're achieving success. And then because we're doing this it gets us to this continual process. So that's a 3-step process to be able to create a profit flow. You're defining your very clear objective, you're following an SOP, standard operating procedure, and then you're tracking the metrics. Inside of step 2, I might as well acknowledge now that we're going to dissect it. In a couple of slides here, I'm actually going to go through a full profit flow as an example so you can see it. But in terms of step 2, we're trying to extrapolate the components of the SOP as well. So we're trying to define, we have the objective, that's the job to be done, but then we want to define the talent, right? Talent being like the who is involved, right? The tools, meaning like the actual tools, software, or I don't know, maybe you're on a construction site, it's actually a hammer, it's a tool, right? But like we tend to use things to be able to complete things. So you want to capture the tools being used by who, the talent being that's using it. And then the technique is kind of the functional how, that is like the standard, that's the process-based approach that you're capturing the talent doing. What is somebody doing with what, right? So then you got the talent, the tools, the technique. And talent, tools, technique. Yep. And then we're capturing that, right? So then we're measuring it, right? So what we want to do once we have it is we're continually iterating so that we can optimize it. And we want to run our retrospectives, right? So as we're running retrospectives in our business, and as we're running retrospectives, when we're measuring what matters inside of our business, we're paying attention to the metrics that matter, and we're defining them back to these profit flows. And that's how we're optimizing the profit flows. That's how we simplify process in our business so that we can optimize for people, right? Now, there's another reason why we really want to be doing this now in the age of AI, right? So for a very long time, perhaps ever, realistically, documentation of process was such a painstaking thing. It was like nails, in the eyelids type of thing for a lot of folks. Like, let's just squeeze the lemon juice right in your eyes. It's so painful creating process and mapping process, and then having to follow SOPs and then it's like, oh, nobody actually uses them or does it, or so the whole concept of documentation of it was typically for to check the box. The big box to check is, of course, always be exiting. When you want to sell your business, you're trying to convert your business into an asset. And when you have repeatable processes that are well documented that work, that's something that people want to buy, right? Think about like a franchise, right? You're buying the process, you're buying the outcomes. And when you design process or profit flows around objectives or outcomes, that's quite literally what you're doing, is you're documenting what works to be able to get results. And people want to buy that because that's valuable. That's an asset. And that's how you convert a liability into an asset. That's how you convert a business that other people want to sell or buy, right? A sellable business. So folks start to care the more senior the business goes, or the closer to an exit it becomes, as you start to put into different layers of management and leadership, and different type of reporting functions start to come in play, and people need to report on things. Typically, putting process or profit flows in place is an easier way to collect data to then report, so that we could go up to upper management. But in smaller businesses, historically speaking, this was like oil and water. However, now in the age of AI, it is in everybody's best interest to be documenting the profit flows of your business, because documenting the profit flows of your business may be one of the biggest cheat codes to actually putting more profit in your pocket over the next several years, right? We can quite literally augment our workflow. We can augment or potentially even remove our workforce, right? And we can drive so much efficiencies, time savings, cost savings, productivity, outcomes, right? Profitability. And it all comes from our ability to, truly document and then be able to teach, train, equip the AI agents, right? So it starts with the ability to analyze data, right? It's like good data in, right? Bad data in, bad results out, good data in, good results out. You're teaching and training these large language models. So you really need to be able to have a really complete data set, which starts with the actual documentation of the profit flow that you're training on in the first place, right? So it needs to be together in a very well-structured manner to be able to input into the AI agents that you're training or the large language models that you're using to augment your workflows. Then it's all about automation of these things. And once you document the profit flow, the ability to visualize it and the ability to refine it is also the ability to train and automate away the tasks, right? So it's like eating a cake one bite at a time, completing a job to be done one task at a time. And the ability to automate it away is the ability to refine over time, right? So you truly want to be able to identify the smallest moving parts so that we can then automate away as much of those tasks as we possibly can. Inclusive in this is true personalization, because this is an automation in the sense of a binary one-to-one, right? In leveraging AI, what we're able to do is train the models over time, and it becomes a truly personalized level of approach where it's kind of like a one-to-many in the form of one profit flow can then be interpreted and utilized on a personalized basis in many different ways, based off of the function. For example, if it's a lead coming in, you can personalize the profit flow based off of the lead and the categorization of the lead and different types of components. So it's not a one-to-one binary based approach. So it's a very much so a one-to-many, which is powerful, right? It just makes it more valuable at the end of the day to everybody involved. And it's only getting smarter, right? And then you got these feedback loops. You can actually leverage the AI to actually run the retrospectives and provide you feedback onto whether or not this profit flow is profitable, right? And that's a really cool thing about that. That's a really powerful thing. So you're now able to so for a long period of time, process work was almost like, lower rate work in terms of a cost basis. And you couldn't expect the same types of analysis on it from the workforce, right? So in this world today, we can be pretty much automating away most things in our business. And then we can be leveraging the function of executing it to actually be analyzing and interpreting the results and the outcomes and feeding that data back to us as to whether or not, we're on track or not, and how we can optimize and make things better. So it becomes actually truly smart and continually perpetually optimizing, the more and more it's being utilized. Super cool. Right. Now, an example. Let's get into an example of what a profit flow, may look like. And this is something that we're actually seeing folks use today. So historically speaking, customer service, right? Customer service is a great ascension tool, right? So we're trying to retain and ascend, retain and then, be able to upvalue clients. In order to do that in our, within our profit engine, right? So as we're standardizing for product and we're implementing our profit engines, it's acquisition, right? It's acquisition, it's activation, and it's ascension, right? So those are the three goals. Within ascension, once somebody's been activated to value, you're trying to retain them as a customer and get them to more value. You'll implement a profit flow such as customer support, right? And you'll tie that into your value engine, how you support customers, right? Through your customer support mechanisms. What we're seeing now is folks automating away a lot of the customer support, augmenting the function of customer support with AI. And now you see folks taking it a step even further, and you're taking customer support or customer service tickets and you're converting them into content. And you're actually driving your profit engine. You're driving additional incremental acquisition and growth by focusing on and optimizing ascension in your business. It's a kind of a crazy thing, and that's super cool, very powerful, and folks are doing it automatically, leveraging this type of profit flow. So customer service the content, and the objective is to use an AI-powered agent, right, to handle your customer support tickets efficiently. This is something that's like very functional out of the box today. Most even customer support desks have AI agents at this point. We've had bots for a long time that kind of do this type of stuff, these agents for a long time. And they're getting super smart now because you can train them off of your domain specific knowledge bases, right? Which is why, again, we want to document as much of these profit flows as we possibly can, because it's empowering and training our ability to teach, train, equip AI and augment our workforce in the future, not just our current function, but in the future, truly building equity in our business over the long term. The more we do, the more we get. It's a flywheel, right? So the function of the customer support tickets, that's been around, still something that a lot of folks need to integrate or have the opportunity to integrate. But now we're repurposing responses to create content for social media. So now we're actually directly engaging and interfacing with our customers, and we're taking feedback that we're receiving in real time. We're saying, hey, this is a problem that I'm having, or a friction, a point of friction, a problem that I'm experiencing, real live customer in market. And then we're solving that problem through customer support, which is value creation through Ascension. And then we're repurposing that and we're putting it out there publicly to the top of our funnel awareness so that we can then drive more acquisition around pain, right? So are you feeling this pain? Well, here's a solution. It's crazy. That's so cool. And, that's a really high level functioning, point of approach. And you could do that with people without a doubt. But you're talking a pretty significant amount of teach, train, equipped. And then you're also talking about pretty skilled labor to be able to connect all of those dots, those moving points, and be able to capture all that value and knowledge and insight. And you're also talking about a couple of different roles and responsibilities. So probably a fairly, higher market cost in terms of a cost basis to be able to do this. So you could do it with people, but probably cost prohibitive, which is probably why we haven't historically seen this. Now, because of the functionality of an AI augmented profit flow, we can bring the cost basis down and we can train the AI agent to do this type of stuff. And it becomes, something that's affordable, flexible, and accessible, right? So including in the answers, you're going to troubleshoot common issues and you're going to create social media reports from responses. And then you're not going to have the AI agent handle complex high-level customer complaints. So you're augmenting the function to low level. You're escalating the high level to people so that you're keeping the high quality, right? The quality compliance and assurance. And same with the content. You're going to have somebody audit and make sure that the content is good before it's going out there publicly. So now, that's the job to be done. Now, from a task perspective, it's quite literally, let's break it down, right? So we're going to respond to customer inquiries. We're going to support tickets using AI. We want to, identify the success metrics that we're talking about, response times, resolution rate, and social media engagement. This is how we're measuring what matters in terms of the success of this. We're going to break it down into the talent of the roles and responsibilities, who's involved, right? So we're going to have an AI agent that we're going to create and train on data. We're going to still have a content manager because, again, we want to have that human review and oversight, especially with things that are tied to our brand. And then we're going to have a human agent to deal with the complex issues, which is somebody that's already in place. But guess what? Because we're freeing up all this time with the AI agent, we're making this human agent more efficient, more effective, broadening up their ability to focus on the high value, elevating them within value creation. Same goes for the content manager. We're literally feeding this content manager high quality content that they can now use to better market and create, acquisition awareness, right? From a tools perspective, what's being used? So then we break down the tools, right? Quite literally, like what's being used. It's going to be a function of the AI, the customer service agent, and integration with the ticket system. And then we're going to, analyze and repurpose for the social media and for the content management, right? Function of what you're using today. It's an, integration of your tech stack, right? And then now we get to the technique. And the technique is the true process that's going to be followed, the SOP that's going to be followed by the talent using the tools to achieve the objective, right? The tasks. So the technique, we're going to be supporting the ticket handling. So the AI agent will auto respond within 5 minutes, right? So now you got a timely response. It's going to escalate the complex ones upwards to the human agent If it can't resolve it, it's going to identify and tag for the social content. So it's quite literally replying to and organizing your tickets as they're coming in, escalating appropriately, and then capturing and tagging and creating content for the content manager to be able to repurpose. Then the repurposed content is going to be coming in. It's a matter of formatting it, right? And then scheduling it. And then there's going to be a review process. So every month or every week in your retrospective, you're reviewing the tickets. You're making sure that everything's being done correctly so that you can continually be training the agent in terms of what a right response looks like. And then you're going to be making sure that you're measuring what matters, which again, we defined: response time, resolution rate, and social media engagement. And you make sure like people are happy that we're resolving right above our 80% threshold, and that there's higher engagement. Is this working as a strategy? Because if there's no engagement in these posts, then there's no point in doing this. Then you remove the profit flow and you simplify your equity management system, right? The goal here is to be able to build long-term equity in your business by implementing as many profit flows as you possibly can to build a more valuable business, right? So we want to build equity, and then we want to be able to optimize our business over time so that we can then unlock capital. Now, if you're interested in something like this, like a profit flow, these are things that we're experimenting with over at bootstrapper.ai. Bootstrapper.ai, we truly want to make it automagical for SMBs to build equity to then go on and unlock capital. We want to make it very fun and fast for you to actually visually see the equity that you're building, right? So we're creating a really cool dashboard that shows what the value of your business is over time, how much equity you've built over time, and then prompting tools to be able to help you implement an equity management system that actually truly will systematically improve the value of your business by doing things such as implementing profit flows the right time with the right place for the right reasons to get to the right outcomes. And then as you build this equity, we're showing you that get built up, we're benchmarking it, and then we're indicating how much capital you can unlock through us, through our platform over at Bootstrapper Capital, or through our network of partners, right? Our capital partners. But our job to be done is to become your capital partner of choice until you no longer need one. And the way in which we want to become your capital partner of choice is to help you do this exact thing, is to help you. Why? Why do we do this? We do this because we want to help you decrease risk in your business. By helping you decrease risk in your business, you are intrinsically building equity. By building a more sustainable, profitable business, we can become your long-term equity management partner, and then we can eventually become your capital partner of choice until you no longer need one. Until next time, trust the process, commit to the journey.